So first things first, we've got the dollar. So DXY yesterday didn't do too much, to be honest, dropping to the lower time frames. We did just about respect support over here. Had a bit of a move to the upside yesterday, but didn't really amount to much. We're back at support again. So the biggest takeaway from the dollar is that we're still overly bearish. The market is still showing us lower lows and lower highs. We are, of course, finding support here, so we're starting to run out a bit of steam a little bit. But because we haven't had any critical rejection or change in momentum of this area, the buys are not looking too enthusiastic right now. We might kind of just bounce in and eventually break through, to be honest, at some point. I do expect to see dollar have a bit of a recovery, see some upside shortly, but I'm not too sure if it's going to be this week. Well, it's coming to the end of the week anyway. Things can change next week potentially, but at the moment, market's a little bit slow. Yes, we're still holding support, but I'm not too sure if we see any type of reversal. So biggest takeaway for dollar for me is that I'm still looking for pullbacks if we can get one. 101.5 looks pretty good to me. Some nice wicks down the daily chart. If price would be kind enough to pull back and retest that area, would be looking for some confirmations for some shorts on the 4-hour time frame, or potentially even hourly. Things look really good, and see if I can continue that momentum back into lows, because overall momentum still with the bears, but where we are trading is definitely back into some bullish territory, where I would imagine buyers are looking to get into positions, sellers are looking to exit from their positions. So I do expect to see a bit of a relief on the dollar pretty soon. Of course, the weekly candle is about to close. And yeah, it's going to close as a very small bearish candle. So not too much to take away from this week, just kind of momentum still with the bears, no kind of signs of reversal just yet. But I am looking for that retracement to continue selling the dollar. So for EURUSD, I'm still very bullish for this one. However, again, waiting for some retracement. You can see with this one, we're taking out some major highs on the daily weekly chart. So I'm just waiting for the retracement to come to me before looking to buy. Again, not much movement this week. That candle there sums up the price action this week for Euro. So not a lot of movement, at least compared to the past couple of weeks. This candle here looks more like something like that. And typically after we do see a big move in the market, we do tend to kind of slow down and have a bit of a breather. We definitely had that last week, huge move. So I was kind of slowing down and pausing, whether it's a pause for price to continue or pause for price to roll over. It's something we'll find out as we get more information, but the market is definitely in a bit of a pause, which if you drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see all we've got right now is just consolidation. So it's been a difficult week for Euro, not a lot of action. I still like the levels here. 1.11 and 1.11, 1.115. That area still looks pretty good. So if price was to pull back into that level, as long as you stay corrective, don't see anything, any red flags. So in terms of the way the market gets there, as long as we stay corrective, I do think there's a good chance we do bounce from this level, and that would be the opportunity which I'll look to buy, which is pretty much the same as the dollar getting back to 101.5 and looking for sells at that area. So EURUSD, DXY pretty much in sync with each other, and just looking to see if we can get a pullback into some respectable levels. But overall, not much to take away from Euro this week, just basically flat, moving sideways. And just not a lot of movement. Pound USD was pretty bullish this week, to be honest. If I expand to the weekly chart, we can see we actually had another strong push to the upside. I know we still got the rest of today, so perhaps we see a bit of a wick to the upside. That could happen, of course. But for the most part, it's been a pretty bullish week for Pound USD. And we do have some major resistance just above us, around 1.34. So that's what I expect price to be drawn towards for Pound USD, which is why I'm still pretty bullish in this pair, which is why if we do pull back, I'm still pretty eager to keep buying this until we get back to major resistance, especially since we are breaking through this level at 1.31 as well. So if we can pull back into that zone, I'll be more than happy to find some longs and continue this trend to the upside. It's been a very Very big swing for pound from this low here, from the 7th of April to the high here. It's been a very big swing with not much of a pullback. So I do think pound USD is in desperate need of a pullback. And if we can see a retest of 1.315, 1.31, more or less this zone here, or if you pull back a little bit further, I wouldn't mind the retest of that resistance as well. But either one of those levels look really good, and yeah, target's more or less back at 1.34. So still very, very bullish in pound USD. Momentum is still intact from the higher time frames, so I would imagine more upside is pretty likely. Dollar CAD, this one has not done too much this week either. So if I go to the weekly chart, again, pretty much a doji this week, bit of a wick to the upside, price came back down. Looks like it's going to close pretty flat. There is, of course, a big level of resistance, which, of course, is turned support, which price is kind of dancing with right now. It's not too sure if it's breaking through or holding. We did sort of just about close below last week, but it was very minuscule. So I'm not going to read too much into that. I want to see a much bigger breakout to have a lot more confidence that, okay, price is breaking through that level. This week, again, bit of a doji as well, so momentum is just stalling. I've said I'm still pretty bearish with dollar CAD, but if I'm going to short this one, I do need to see a much bigger pullback into this area here or this area here. Either one of these levels would suffice. Again, depends how we get there and how we react. On paper, they look good, but potentially maybe price is very impulsive on the way there, so maybe I back away. But if we can stay, for the most part, pretty corrective, I do think 1.405 or 1.15 could give us some nice opportunities to catch some shorts for a push back into the low. So dollar CAD still pretty bearish. Like I've been saying, I'm pretty bearish on USD as a whole. So any of these USD pairs, I'm looking to pretty much sell the dollar against any other currency right now. Yeah, I don't think I'm looking to buy the dollar against anything, to be fair. Again, I'm expecting retracement, but the bigger move still looks like it's likely with the USD bears for now. So that's where my focus is. Same thing for Aussie dollar as well. Still very bullish on this one. I know we're heading right back into resistance. In fact, if we go to the weekly chart, you can see for the past few weeks, we've just been placing a lot of wicks here to the upside. Wick, 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 and potentially again this week, another wick to the upside as well. So we're definitely stuck in some major resistance, but I do think, as I've been saying, I do think the market is forming a bit of a bottom here. So I do think we will have a pretty meaningful move to the upside in the next coming days and weeks. So I do think this resistance is likely to break at some stage and us to really push through. Of course, I don't want to be buying directly into that level. So I'm looking for a bit of a pullback for Aussie dollar first before I do start looking to buy it. Preferably a pullback into this kind of area would be nice. I'm not too sure if Aussie dollar's got that in the tank. We might be a bit too far to see that retracement. If that's the case, then I would wait just for price to break through this level, and then hopefully there's some retests afterwards on the other side as the level acts as support. But I do see a much bigger move now for Aussie dollar, and I'm very, very bullish on this one as well. There might be some shorts beforehand. Again, I'm not really interested in it. I did discuss this ascending channel here for Aussie dollar yesterday. I said if we have another push back to the high, naturally on the lower time frames, price might go and put another high in, and that could be a nice short intraday. We've kind of seen a bit of a rollover from that. It could go a lot further as well. It might just be a swing of the channel, or it might be price get ready to break the channel. So there is that downside potential. But as I said, I think the bigger move is for Aussie dollar buys. So that's kind of where I'm focused on right now. So just waiting for Aussie dollar to come to me, or if we can break and retest the high there, then I'll look to long it. NZD USD, very similar pair to Aussie, of course, and I do have a very similar bias and setup for this one too. Very big swing to the upside. Again, looking at this being as a nice bottom in the market, so I do think we can start to see a bit of a bullish trend form now. So the next play would be just waiting for price to come back and retest some structure, which will be back down here at 0.58100, 200. So just waiting for New Zealand dollar to retrace now. Hopefully that can unravel next week, and then hopefully some buys later in the week as well. So as the USD bullish, Aussie dollar bullish, pound bullish, euro bullish as well. Just waiting on pullbacks on pretty much all those currency pairs. In terms of gold, gold had a bit of a move to the downside, didn't we? Again, nothing too crazy. The market is still very, very bullish. We did speak about the retest of this consolidation here as a nice place for a long. I still think that is a nice place for a long. It's just that we are pretty far away from it. Looks like price has respected some structure here on the left, a brief doji there. As you can see, we kind of had a very aggressive wick through that on the 4-hour chart, but we've pulled back and left behind a pretty big wick. So we could actually see price use this as support now and potentially push back into resistance here. And yeah, back to highs and maybe some new all-time highs again. That seems to be what gold seems to be having a lot of fun with at the moment. So gold looking pretty bullish again. Very corrective move on the way down. I think that's a key takeaway. Yes, we did have some momentum here, but for the most part it was pretty corrective. So that still pretty much gives me an indication that this bearish move is probably just a pullback for price to continue back to highs. Looks like we formed a higher low this morning, and now price is pushing to the upside from that. So as long as we can hold this level here at 33.10, I would bet on gold pushing back to highs at 33.50 and probably beyond that as well. And of course you got your lovely silver, which looks is trying to follow gold's footsteps in terms of momentum and trying to see more upside. But again, because of where we're trading, I'm backing away with silver for now. Still very bullish on the pair long term. I do think price is eventually going to make its way back to the highs here at 35 or just below 35. So I do think silver's got a long way to go. However, as a swing trader, I can't really be looking to position myself long directly into some area of resistance supply. That's just not the smartest thing to do. Intraday plays make sense because you can buy here and be in and out within a session or in and out for a day, take your profit and run. But if you're going to look to hold trades through multiple days, potentially multiple weeks, there is a good chance that we'll probably see a bit of a move to the downside at some point, which will probably be past your stop loss. So best thing to do is wait for price to pull away from these zones back into bullish areas, then base opportunities and longs from there. That's if you have the bullish buys, of course. But yeah, for silver, I can see prices respecting this range here pretty well too. So I think again for silver, there might be a nice push to the upside for this one back into resistance here. The way the 4-hour chart is placing all of these wicks to the downside does mean that price has had numerous attempts trying to break lower, but essentially we're just not budging. Support is holding. You can see we did consolidate here for a while, had a pretty strong move to the upside. We're back here again, respecting it pretty well. I do think we'll see a push back into resistance to 32.9, 33. But any further, I'm not too sure about that. We could double top it and have a bit of a sell-off. So